What's up, Spartan Nation? It's Jacob Katsunik here back for another episode of the Michigan State Spartans Insider Podcast. It is now Monday, October 20th, coming off of another loss for Michigan State, this time against number 3. Now number 2, Indiana in Bloomington was there for that one. 38-13, not a very close game, but obviously things are tough right now for Michigan State. Talked about how they're kind of being judged like they're a bad team right now. From Smith, from what kind of reading the tea leaves of what the players were saying after the game, like there's that reality. Like they're 0-4 in Big Ten play. Good teams do not go 0-4 in Big Ten play. We thought Penn State was a good team. Clearly, they're not anymore. They're one of the few winless teams left in the Big Ten. But Michigan State has lost all of their conference games by multiple scores, by double figures. Hasn't been that close. But the biggest game of the season is now coming up. It is Michigan State, battle for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Two programs in interesting portions of things. Two programs that are certainly probably not playing to the expectations they hold for themselves. Certainly not Michigan State. Michigan is 5-2. They're just in this week's AP poll at number 25 in the country. They got a pretty nice win against Washington. This past Saturday, I think it was 24-7 in that one, big one for their defense. But obviously, though, there's always been a lot of talk about Jonathan Smith lately. Will he get year 3? If it was a blowout against Indiana, if it was a bad blowout at least, would he have gotten this opportunity here in Michigan as of right now? Still around, whether people like it or not. He's going to coach this game. It certainly appears so at the moment, and I think I agree with that. I think it'd be really quick to not even give him a second Michigan game to try and win back over some people. If this game is not close against Michigan, if they lose, really, if they just lose, and then they go lose to Minnesota in Minneapolis the week after, tune's going to change for me, and it's probably not going to change from the overall voice of the fan base, but I might be a little more aligned with that personally about what Michigan State should do with Jonathan Smith. Still always plenty of rumblings about what MSU might do, but no sign of him leaving just yet. But obviously there's a lot of pressure on J-Bat and everyone around, on Jonathan Smith, on the players, on all the coaches to win a football game. And if there's ever a game you can pick on the schedule every year, like if you are guaranteed a win in any of these games, what game are they going to pick? It's going to be against Michigan. It's the biggest rivalry Michigan State has. It's one of the better ones in the Big Ten, I think. It's especially been really, really bitter, of course, over the last handful of seasons. And Michigan's won it the last 3 years. Paul Bunyan Trophy has not been in Michigan State's possession since it won back in 2021. And that was, again, it's still that season as time goes on. It feels like a lightning in a bottle type of season, getting Kenneth Walker over to East Lansing and him just bursting out, just having a crazy season. Has parlayed it into a nice NFL career so far. But if there's ever a chance if this might be Jonathan Smith's last real chance to win people back over. If there's ever a more convincing argument, it's a win over Michigan. Even if Michigan isn't a world dominator like they are some years, like they were in 2023, like they were in 2022, really. Like those Michigan teams that are true Big Ten contenders, that is not Michigan this season. At least that's not the way I look at them. They're 3-1. Yeah, 3-1 in Big Ten play. A lot better than Michigan State. They're 5-2 overall in Big Ten play. A lot better than Michigan State. And both of their losses are not necessarily ones that you can truly scoff at a whole ton. Both of them were losses on the road against teams that were ranked, or no, not ranked. USC is not ranked anymore. They were ranked. They lost to Notre Dame. Have now dropped outside of the top 25. Probably should be there over Michigan, to be quite honest with you, given the head-to-head result. I think USC only has 2 losses. Pretty sure. But both of their losses are tough games. They lost at Oklahoma. Oklahoma is still number 13 in the AP rankings right now. And then at USC, cross-country trip. difficult. It's not one a title contending team is going to drop, but it's still a difficult game. And they again, tough one there. They have a road win at Nebraska. That one looks a lot less impressive given that the Huskers lost to Minnesota this past weekend on Friday. But again, Washington was a real solid win for them. I thought Washington was deserving of being ranked in the previous week's AP poll, and Michigan won by 17 at home. That's a solid result. It's not like a true statement win, I think, but it's like you know what you're going to get from Michigan. They're gonna be at least solid week over week, and they're an interesting case. But again, it's really all of that aside. I'll be able to preview Michigan in depth later on this week. What they do well, what they do not do well, wide receivers. But again, Bryce Underwood's great. He looks like a great at least for a true freshman. He's looking pretty solid to this point. Defense has been up and down for them, but we'll go more in depth of that. But if Michigan State approaches this like just another game, that's going to be real trouble because Jonathan Smith is a West Coast guy. It's tough to blame him necessarily for maybe not fully grasping what this one means to a lot of people in this fan base because of how personal it is. Because like Michigan Ohio State, one of the best, probably the best rivalry in college football, bar none. It's them in the Iron Bowl 1A 1B. If you ask me, maybe Army Navy 1C. But this is a deeply personal rivalry for a lot of people in this state because everyone knows so many people that root for the other team. Every Michigan State fan knows a ton of Michigan fans, and every Michigan fan knows a ton of Michigan State fans just because the two fan bases are so mixed up together. There's no like true territory outside of Ann Arbor and East Lansing for both fan bases that really take root. Everyone's living among each other, in Michigan. It's not like Michigan, Ohio State, where once you cross, basically there's this one little disputed territory in like the Toledo Strip. Other than that, once you're in Ohio, it's Buckeye country. And then once you go up into Michigan, as far as that rivalry is concerned, that's where Wolverine fans are. It's pretty separate. It's not the way in Michigan State, and I think that's part of the reason why that rivalry's gotten so bitter because of it's a rivalry where when you go to work after on the Monday after this game, the winning coworker is going to taunt the other one. That might not be the case as much. Certainly, it's a little more out there maybe for Michigan, Ohio State, but there's maybe not as many offices out there that have both Michigan and Ohio State fans at least in Michigan, the way that it is with Michigan State. I have plenty of friends at the University of Michigan. I know plenty of people who root for Michigan, and obviously they all know, people around East Lansing that root for Michigan State. So big opportunity for Jonathan Smith. If he wins this game, that might be enough to just get him a year three. It's tough to fire a coach the year after he beats Michigan. It would maybe be weird if they beat Michigan and then finish 4-8. That'd be a real interesting case study for Jay Vatt and that type of decision you have to make. When you get the big win, you have Paul Bunyan in your trophy, but the coach is 4-8 is still clearly not good enough. That would be a real interesting scenario, but you'd have to imagine if they beat Michigan, they'd be able to use that type of momentum to maybe grab another win at Minnesota against Penn State, Iowa, or Maryland. Again, all of these games for Michigan State now are at least semi-gettable, I think. There's no Indiana left on the schedule. There's no team there's probably not. I don't think Michigan's going to the CFP. I don't think there's not a college football playoff team left on Michigan State's schedule. There's no amazing teams out there. Is Michigan State even really good? No. But you can go grab a win. In this game, it's at home. We'll see how many proportion of Michigan fans there are. I'm sure there's going to be, as much as people don't want it to be that way, I'm sure there's going to be some people who give away or sell their tickets off and people from Ann Arbor scoop them up. But it's still at Spartan Stadium. You have the home field advantage. This is going to be a defining game. If they're flat, if Michigan rolls them over, that might be at UCLA. Still kind of feels like the beginning of the end, but that might really be one of the final nails, in the era for Jonathan Smith, because I don't know how you come back from that. if Michigan comes in and wins by 21, unless he goes and beats Minnesota, I think that'd have to be it. Because there's no recovery anymore. Like even if you beat Penn State, I think Penn State will come into that game after playing Ohio State and Indiana back to back. It's going to be a battle between a 4-5 and a 3-6 team. Like you're not going to get many points truly for that. Yeah, I'm like, even if you win, it's like, okay, you beat another bad team. It's not impressing anyone. So, yeah, once again, though, I'm Jacob Katzanika. Keep tuning in here and keep checking all of our other content at SpartanNation.com and Michigan State Spartans on SI. Thank you so much for listening or watching, however you are tuning in for this one, and I'll see you guys around.